0537. What am I doing? Another Riding the Thin Lines adventure. A little bit different today. Y'all stay tuned. Well, here we are, as you can see, over here in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and I'm on the Lakeshore Trail right now. Going on a little hike today. We're going to go up here the Forney Creek Trail area, and we're going to go back here and find a couple of gravesites. These gravesites are of two infants from their Willie Monroe, or as the book said, he likes to go by William or Will Monroe Douthit, which would be my great-grandfather Charles. It would be his brother, and two of his children are buried out here in the park, which gives you another perspective on the broken promises of the federal government and the road to nowhere. That's a whole different story. But I'm going to go back in here, find the grave sites, have the GPS coordinates, and go back here and find our way back here and see these grave sites. Now, what led me to wanting to do this is a long story. Not the typical video I do, but we're still in the throngs of the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. It's May 14th. And still can't travel, still can't make videos of, riding a motorcycle. And been talking a lot, some of the co-workers and friends, about, still wanting to travel. We had to cancel one of our trips. But I made mention to one of my co-workers about, exploring some of the stuff that's closer to home. We may not get to travel this summer, may not be able to do any motorcycle trips. But so in my conversations about checking out what's available around western North Carolina, he made mention that I should go to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, explore some of that. My knowledge of the Great Smokies Park is pretty limited to the places that you can drive to, some very short hikes and stuff. So, I got to talking about it. We got to chit-chatting just about, what's out there, what's available. And through those conversations, it's led me to watching some YouTube videos about hiking, which led me to watching several videos of through hikers for the Appalachian Trail, which led me to start getting some gear ready, start doing some conditioning walks with a pack on my back. Got a map of the park. But I was talking to my co-worker, and we were discussing what was out there, what's available, and then he comes to work one day with this book. It's called The Cemeteries of the Smokies by Dr. Gail Palmer. And he brings it to work, and he tells me to turn to page 199. And on page 199, I find that there's family members buried in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which has led me here to putting together a video. Got the idea, okay, let's put together a video of actually going there, finding these grave sites. You know, the book lists where they're at. We got a GPS coordinates. It's off of a trail. They're unmarked. With the GPS I got, I know that I'm going to be within 12 to 15 feet if I've got a good GPS signal. So I feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to find these grave sites. But really want to, spend some time doing some more research. Once they open up the park to where backcountry campsites are open, I think I'm going to actually hike in there. Find these grave sites, maybe camp a night or two, and backpack around some of those areas close by. I think that I could make it to the grave sites and back in one day, but really don't want to press my luck. So that's what's coming. That's what I'm going to be working on. Still got to get a few more things. Got to do some more research. Got to plan a route, so to speak. And then once they get the campsites open, once they open up the park a little bit more, we're going to venture into the park and find these grave sites. So for those family members that are unable to go, it might be, kind of informative for them. Last year, year before last, I can't remember, I made my way down to the Winston-Salem area to find some grave sites down there of the first family member that came to the United States, 1751, and was buried in a 1-acre cemetery. And I started to make a video of that, but I kept it for myself, and I wish that I would have saved those videos. I know I've got some still pictures that I'll put in here of that cemetery. Went and actually found one of his sons, which our family comes from, found his gravesite in a different area. Whole different story there. And maybe I can talk a little bit about that once we start doing the hikes. But I'm looking forward to this adventure. I'm going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to be riding a motorcycle in there by no means, but I look forward to finding these grave sites. Some years ago, probably in the late 70s, early 80s, my parents come across the book called Here Come the Douthits. Coast to Coast Across the Century, I think it's called. I'll double check. But this book about the Douthit family. And I guess when they found the book, or found out about the book, there wasn't any available. So I did a little research, and I found that on Amazon there is a second edition. However, it's not currently available. So if you watch this book or watch this video, that's all. Contact Amazon and get them to print out some more of the books. I know I want about 5 of them. But anyway, the book, they made copies of it. And I have a copy. And, my youth, I probably didn't look at it too much. Went in there and looked to see where, my name was and the people I knew. And, it's just interesting. The older I got, the more important it became to me. Started looking at who my ancestors, if you will, are and were. Fast forward, 2 years ago, I went to the Winston-Salem area and I found John Douthit Sr.'s gravesite. That uphill's kicking my butt. But I went down there to the Winston-Salem area, found John Douthit Sr.'s gravesite. Daughters of the American Revolutionary War have put a plaque on it, bronze plaque. I'll post a picture in here. And they put one on his wife's grave as well. When my children were little, we were camping in our camper, and we went down there when they were younger to find it, and was unsuccessful. I probably drove right around it. But slippery. Through our banging and beating around down there, we stumbled into some interesting stuff. Oh crap, it's steep here. Be back in a minute. Well, I just passed camping site number 71 and the Bee Gum camp, part of the CCC camp, and took some pictures of the old chimney. There's a few people there at the campsites. As much stuff as they's carrying, you can tell they weren't going too far. But still on the trail. But back to my story, I was telling you about going to Moxville with the children. We went down there looking for John Douthit Sr.'s gravesite, and we were unsuccessful. But the interesting part of it was that while we were in Moxville, the wife wanted to go get a few things from the store, so she went into Walmart. I don't much care for Walmart, so I sat out in the truck and I looked to my right, and there was an old cemetery. And just being curious, I decided to just go over and look around. And believe it or not, Squire and Sarah Boone are buried there, right next door to the old Walmart in Moxville, North Carolina. His original headstone is encased in glass, and they fixed a pretty nice memorial there. And the words that's on his original headstone is I think it's in a bronze plate, but small world. For those of you that don't know who Squire and Sarah Boone is, that's Daniel Boone's parents. But that was interesting. Also, while we're there, I found a historical marker on the side of the road, and the bombardier on the airplane, the Enola Gay, the ones that pushed the button and dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Yeah, he's from there too. Kind of interesting what you stumble into. But we're still going up Forney Creek, headed to the grave sites for Willie Monroe Douthit's children. Are they people that I know or knew of? No. But it's interesting that through this coronavirus, me doing some family research and whatnot, co-worker shared that book with the cemeteries of the Smokies. I just found it interesting and felt compelled to come in here and find their graves. It's a pretty lengthy walk back in here. We still haven't gotten there, so we got, I think, it's up here close. Going to have to actually cross Forney Creek.
that shall be interesting. But continuing on the trail, well, you can see it's not that much of a trail. It's a path. Another great day. Well, here they are, the two Douthit Gravesites. 1916, 1917. There's no names listed on the placards. We come up Forney Creek and we actually cross the creek, and I suggest if you come to find these graves, look at a topographical map and maybe come around from a different location. It was a pretty steep climb coming up from the creek, but the way this land lays here, this is not very big area and it's not that flat. But we come up Forney Creek Trail, cross the creek, come to the grave sites. In our book, Here Come the Douthits, these two infants are not listed as Willie Monroe's children. It's just not in the book. He had one infant that says in the book that died in 1924. Those could just be, you know, record errors, who knows. But the book, The Cemeteries in the Smokies, lists these two infants as Willie Monroe Douthit's children. Wasn't too bad of a hike in here. It's a few miles. The last stretch was a little bit more of an off-trail excursion, but I think I'll sit around here, maybe eat a bite of lunch, pay some respects. But it's kind of interesting how stumbled into finding that there's grave sites of Douthits here in the Great Smoky Mountains Park. Back in this time when these children were born, this was probably a logging camp area. I know from the book it says that Will Monroe was a saw filer, and I imagine it was with the logging companies that were logging this out many years ago. But an interesting find nonetheless. Ooh, that water's cold. Coming out, done been to the grave site, still on Forney Creek Trail. Over there's Forney Creek. And it was a relatively easy hike in here on the trail system. It got kind of difficult once we got off the trail. As you can see from my shirt, I had one little spill. Ground super wet from all the rains we've had recently, and kind of slid around and fell over backwards. No big deal, no fuss, no muss. But we're now on the trek out, and seen a few people, a few hikers, a few backpackers, family up there camping at campsite 71. But all in all, been a good day so far. Trails are good. There was a group of horseback riders went by a minute ago. There's 5 or 6 horses in the group.
Y'all don't look excited out there.
Well, they got the trail kind of chopped up a little bit in the soft areas. It's all good trail system. That Forney Creek's roaring right now though. I don't know if the microphone will pick it up. A lot of water coming off them mountains. Although, back to the Gravesites. If you do decide that you're going to hike in here to go to the Gravesites, and I'll put the GPS coordinates in my video, you might want to get you a topographical map, kind of look at the terrain and find an easier way of getting around there. I went up a very steep section. It was probably not the smartest way in there, but there is a side trail kind of grading around the side of the hill there, so but it's not that far off the trail, not as far as I believed it to be, so very doable. Check that out. Beautiful Forney Creek. Yeah, they call these the Great Smoky Mountains for a reason. But it's great.